I have no clue what the fuck Kratom is. So.
Okay,
I'm hoping to learn that
Give you
tonight.
the
You know,
ins and
I'll
outs
let
and everything
Ethan
you
give
know.
like all the scientific shit, but for me, Kratom is the reason why I was able to completely get off of prescription painkillers. for
Nice.
good. It's a tree from Indonesia. It interacts with the same receptors in your brain that opiates do, but in a much different way. Does not cause the respiratory depression, which is what kills people when they take too much of a true opiate. But it has much the same pain-killing properties. It's good for that. Taylor knows this. It's like people love to use it as like a pre-workout.
For sure.
In a smaller
Shit's straight
dose, it
bussin'.
gives you a nice little energy boost
What's the difference? What's keeping it from
being illegal.
from being it seems like a thing that like kind of like CBD, where you kind of really got to be a pothead to know what CBD is, because they don't really put that out there. Well, they do more now.
Yeah.
I guess I just don't pay attention. But like
Kratom's different. Kratom's like literally in its own world.
There's nothing else like it.
There's nothing else like it.
Yeah.
Like when we're talking cannabis and Kratom, they're totally two different things. And like you said, a lot of people don't know anything.
I didn't
about
know
it.
that. I thought it was some kind of weed like
They're
CBD.
very similar, right? A lot of people would associate a lot of the same, and a lot of it is hands down just the way it's been presented to people.
Sure.
Period. And that's really about as far as it goes. It's something like Dave was saying. It's a plant. It's literally a tree. So it's a tree that grows native to Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, and people will literally pull these leaves like right off the tree, chew on it. A lot of these people are laborers, farmers.
okay, I've seen that before.
And they'll-
Hard-working
Yeah,
people.
I've seen that before, like depicted in movies and stuff. They'll just, grab a plant, chew on it. Like, what the hell are they
and
chewing
it's so
on?
it's like imagine like the coca leaf in South America. Like people been using it forever. You know, it's just a natural stimulant to them. Nothing really is an issue. It's not a drug of abuse. They just use it commonly, similar to like they would coffee.
Sure.
You know,
Right.
it's not until you start refining things and isolating alkaloids out of the plants that it becomes drugs. And that's
Right.
the same idea with kratom. Kratom is a leaf. As Dave was saying, it can function on similar receptors as like
As a true opiate.
as an opiate can. Because like let's speak of alkaloids. Because like a lot of people don't necessarily understand opiates and what they even are, the constitutes of them. They're just alkaloids derived from poppy. And poppy, everybody kind of knows what a poppy looks like. You know, they grow and.
Yeah, it's like the typical dot with your, flower shape
little
to
flower
it.
too, and they'll
yeah.
lance the sides, and the.
I always think of opium though when I think of poppies.
Well,
That's right.
That's what's happening. They'll lance the sides of these poppies, and the latex that comes out the sides of the poppies is the opium. And then they'll collect that residue and dry it out, and that is traditional opium as we know it. Within opium, there's a lot of alkaloids within there, which is what we commonly know here in America, such as morphine, codeine. All of these are simple alkaloids isolated from poppy, opium. And these are isolated simply because they have incredible pain-killing effects. However, again, it's not in its natural form. Like, when you're taking morphine, that is an isolated alkaloid from opium. And it's done,
that's refined.
It's refined.
Yeah.
And the reason why these things are so potentially dangerous, they have incredible application to it, of course, for pain relief, because on our brain receptors, as we were talking about earlier, how things are different, it's how they bind to that mu-opiate receptor. So we have receptors that, just like cannabinoids in our body, we have opiate receptors, and they bind differently from different products, And so with that being said, traditional opiates will bind so heavily to that receptor to make it dangerous. You can overdose. Like, people don't really even understand what overdosing means in this world. You hear it every day, but people think it's this like dramatic end of the life experience. No, people just don't wake up. They
forget to breathe.
They just stop breathing.
Your brain literally forgets to breathe.
That's how those receptors work, and that's what an overdose is. And God bless everyone who has ever experienced that or lost somebody to it. It's a tragedy,
Oh, yeah.
It's a tragedy I've experienced. I've lost many friends, and a lot of that is what I myself have experienced, opiate addiction. And so that's what brings me to kratom. Kratom, the beauty of it is it can work on similar to the same receptors, but there's an alkaloid in there called mitragynine. And mitragynine is the big issue when we even talk about kratom. And so to loop all this back around, which I will, that's the one we need to know of. Mitragynine is the one that gets treated and toted as if it's like this devil of a drug.
Right.
And it's because structurally it is similar to what morphine's like, which is a beautiful thing in the sense of it has that pain-killing ability.
Right.
You know, it is structured similar to that. However, it's not of the same.
Right.
And so let's say when we are using the plant kratom for pain relief, let's say you use 3 grams for a serving. Well, according to lab results and testing, which we are required to do, or you should be doing, well, like out of that 3 grams, not even but 2% of that one plant material is that single alkaloid called mitragynine.
Right.
And so as we were talking earlier, like to morphine and all these other alkaloids that are isolated directly from like opium, that have that incredible binding effect that's made to bind so heavily to give you that effects, but also the addiction issues and everything that comes with it. Mitragynine, you think about it, if you're taking 3 grams and not even but 2% of that 3 grams is that single alkaloid that gives that single effect, the rest of the 40 plus other alkaloids in that plant serving has a self-regulating effect to it.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it. It has that ability to touch that receptor but not bind.
Right.
And since it doesn't have that binding effect, it has that incredible ability to help people with pain that we've experienced.
Yep.
It has that incredible ability to help people who are fully physiologically addicted to the opiates that we produce as standard drugs today.
Yep.
To cut that withdrawal issues because of the same function on that receptor. So it
Yeah.
can give people's their life back.